Yes, sir. Any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
Terry Bird, 40 Little Road. Could you repeat the line about the Melbourne Hill? Melbourne Hill.
The Melbourne Hill development has a decades-old preliminary approval from the township. There were some conditions upon it. One was that there be an emergency access other than the main access. And much to my surprise, out of nowhere came an emergency access agreement, which I reviewed and made a few changes to the draft. That's it.
Thank you.
I think, are you going to speak about that?
Yes.
Yes, and we have some guests here that they came after the agenda was finalized. We're going to speak specifically about that. Is that correct? Yes.
That's it, Tom? That's it.
Thank you, Kevin. Since we are without mic, I will try to be loud. If somebody doesn't hear me, raise your hand and I'll try to be louder. Just a few things on my report this evening. The first is regarding the Creekside of Perkiomen development, also known as the Arcadia development. The project plans were revised to address all the conditions of approval. They have been reviewed, and it's my understanding that they're here at the office tonight to start acquiring signatures from township officials. In my last review letter, I noted the plans and the legal descriptions were acceptable, that a right-of-way area needed to be acquired, and we've since seen that that has been acquired, that the applicant is committed to contributing $150,000 to the township towards the sewage facilities, and it's my understanding that check is now in hand. And the applicant must provide financial guarantee for the proposed improvements. It's my understanding that letter of credit is now in hand. So the items are addressed for Creekside at Perkiomen to support signing and recording those plans and agreements, subject to any review that's requested by the Board of Supervisors. Next thing on my report is just to advise that the 13 3rd Avenue revised subdivision plans have been received and will be reviewed in advance of the next Planning Commission meeting, which is held on September 20th. And then last week, I reviewed 3 areas of concern here in the township and issued one-page reports on each. I'd be happy to go into depth on those if you wish. Those 3 areas were first a depression in the road surface of Spring Mountain Road. Our investigation revealed a failing 24-inch corrugated metal pipe, and that pipe should be replaced with an HDP or high-density polyethylene smooth-bore pipe as soon as practical, and the resulting trench pavement restored. Next, I looked at a culvert that conveys stream flow behind private property upstream of the 2nd Avenue crossing. I prepared a summary report of those findings. And lastly, the dam across the Perkiomen Creek at Foy Park. At the workshop meeting, we discussed a letter from DEP that was received by the township in recent days. I provided you a summary report of my findings relative to that letter. I'd be happy to go into more detail on those items if you desire. Otherwise, those are all the items in my report this evening, and I'd be happy to address any questions on these or other township matters.
Yeah, Dan Work, Rats Road. Can I just ask a question related to the Foy Dam? It was asked whether or not the counties and states' activities related to the removal of old dams is still something that's a viable option for there, or could be explored?
That's actually, thank you for raising it, that's actually at the conclusion of my brief report, that if the township desires, I would be happy to look at any grant funding that might be available for dam removal, if that's what the township desires.
Warren?
Warren Jacobs, Home Road. Carol, would your report be available for us to read at the park board meeting next week?
It's, I mean, it's provided to the township, so it would be a matter of public record, sure.
I'd like to let everybody on the board know what you're thinking.
I mean, this is very simplistic. It basically talks about where the dam breach is relative to, there were 3 comments put forth by DEP in their letter. They exactly mirrored 3 comments that were received 5 years ago, and I provided a response to each of those comments. Essentially, that the dam breach is beyond the township's property, that the vegetation should be removed from the face of the dam, which township staff is capable of doing and has done before. Talk about patching any questionable concrete once that vegetation is removed. And then beyond that, it's simply a question. If somebody wants to pursue further looking at removing that dam, we can certainly look into grant opportunities that might be available for that. I'm not going to start doing that without getting direction from the board to do so. And that's a big project. When I looked at information from over 10 years ago, there was one just downstream that cost $180,000 to remove. So it's not a little project to remove these dams.
Well, I guess it'll be especially complicated since how we only have half of it.
Correct. You have to have cooperation of the owner on the other side. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah, Carol, I want to thank you for your due diligence on the Ragusa subdivision, getting all that taken care of. It did come to my attention though this week that they applied for a blasting permit.
I heard that as well.
Do you have any idea what that's about?
That's actually a permit that they applied for with DEP. If they're not within the township road rights of way, they're not permitted under the code of Lower Frederick Township. My inspector was in attendance at that meeting with DEP, and we've been asked to keep advised so that we can notify the township staff when that is going to occur.
Thank you.
Okay. You have in your packet the August report from the police department. There's nothing on public works. And I have 2 matters on my report. The first is a change order for the Low in conjunction with the treatment plant construction, actually issuing a credit back to us of $7,500. And estimate number 19, need approval to pay $36,432.25. So I'd like to have a motion to approve that, please.
Now, how far are we to the last of the payments?
With Woodward, we have,
Is that supposed to the last one?
it is close to the last one, yes. Electrical's done, plumbing's done. They just had some roofing to do. I think that should be about it.
Could I point out that the request for $36,432 is opposite the number of $201,003.52. I think there's a mistake.
I just put it in.
Yes, they increased it by 170. So the motion would just be for the 36.
$6,432.25, yes.
So we'll make a motion for the 36,000,
432.25.
432.25.
Also moved.
Second. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Carousel Spring Mountain Road. With that payment, you said you're just about done, but I think if I heard Mr. Keenan correct, it's off by $130,000?
Right, the way they wrote it out.
The way they wrote it out.
Right.
So where is the status, and we're almost done, is the silencer then installed 2 months after the fact, and is the berm in place? Where are we with the noise issue?
Silencer, my understanding, is installed. We're having issues trying to install the berm with conservation district. So we're trying to work with the conservation district to try to get that installed.
Barbara Coletti, Spring Mountain Road, the noise is worse than it ever has been. At times of the day, it's as loud as it used to be. The silencers do not.
I know the other silencer was installed. Once the berms and the trees are up, hoping that will.
It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. It's too loud to be covered by floor and trees. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but it's just not acceptable. Not for anyone. It's just not fair to be out.
Yes. Mark Turpin, I agree with Barbara. This has been going on for 7 months. Last month I didn't make this meeting, so it was 2 months ago that I was here, that I heard that silencer was going to be installed in 3 weeks. That noise is just as bad as it was 6 months ago. And we're going nowhere with this fast. I stood outside my house yesterday on my front step and heard that thing, ooh, ooh, ooh. It's not getting any better, fellas. And man, I'm sorry, but we've been really more than patient dealing with this issue. And it irks me every time I gotta write a check to this township for my sewer bill that I gotta listen to this nonsense. And that we talk as residents, you're elected people, and I said this before, Terry, I said this to you. This is not something that this Board of Supervisors approved, but it's in your lap. And you're elected to deal with it. Because, you know, I heard the rumors too, and I heard the last month's meeting got a little bit contentious about the refinancing of the $10 million debt. And that the person that you had spoke to 2 months ago about doing that wanted to raise our sewer rates to $225, $250. I got news for you. You raise our sewer rates to $225, $250, you're going to watch a major exodus leave Lower Frederick Township because people can't afford to live here anymore. It's getting crazy. I like where I live. I used to live there in peace. I used to live there in quiet. I can't anymore. And we've said this same thing over and over and over again for 7 months. And for, I don't know, 2 hours on a Tuesday night, once a month, you listen to us, pardon me, bitch at you guys. And then it goes away for 3 weeks until the next month rolls around. And the same questions, same problems. So I haven't gotten, and we talked, I know there was an issue brought up last month about communication from the supervisors and where we hear the rumors about the 225 and the refinancing and all of that. I started off with communications with Kevin Tobias back in March. I haven't gotten an email from that man since.
I can second that one.
Not one.
Try to update on the website.
Try doesn't count, Kevin. I want to know what's going on. I'm a resident. You're my township manager. I can't believe. I'm
Calm
sorry.
down, one at a time, and take it easy.
I'm sorry, but I cannot believe that this township has enough business for you to do 8 hours a day in that office and not deal with a pressing issue for 7 months. I don't get it. I don't understand.
I've been trying to work with Terry, I've been trying to work with Tom, I'm trying to work with Roger and Janet Fleming.
Roger's the same guy that told us, don't buy a house near a sewer plant. So to me, maybe we need, as we stated 2 months ago, 3 months ago, get an independent party out here and resolve the issue. Janet Fleming's not going to do it. And you're going to keep paying Lobar, and you're going to keep paying Janet Fleming, and we're going to keep paying sewer bills for a planting. Hear that noise? That's what we hear, only amplified, all the time.
Okay.
And it's not fair. It's just not
Could
fair.
I suggest to the supervisors that they instruct that no retainages are to be released whatsoever on the sewer plant until we get some satisfactory answers from Lobar and Janet Fleming. See if we can put some pressure on in that fashion.
Can we hold that from Lobar or just get it from? We were talking about that before.
I don't think you can hold back payment from the contractor, you can.
We can from
And just one thing, Brian, just the bond issue. You said you were dealing with the conservation district. To me, that sounds like, shouldn't we have done that a while ago, when the plans were made? Rather than now, we should have just been able to, plans done, everything's cleaned up, put the berm in. Why are we now fighting with the conservation district to get a berm put in?
We're not fighting with them. We have a meeting with them next week. Okay, to go over the height and that it's not gonna change the water flow.
No, it's not. I understand that.
Okay.
But I guess my point to that question, Terry, is, and I'm going to get off this because it's just too frustrating. My point to this question is, just as it took this township, and as I said, it was prior supervisors, it took this township until the very last minute that they were being threatened to build a bigger plant, that they went and built the bigger plant without getting any funding from the state or the government, just going, I'm going to go get a loan for $10 million. And they waited and waited and waited, sat on their thumbs and got to that point. The berm issue and the rest of that, why wasn't that all done with the planning stage? To say, yeah, it's approved as soon as everything's done. Then you don't have to have these meetings now. It should have already been installed. We're 7 months, 8
Not
months
gonna,
in.
the berm was supposed to be installed in his plan, and he did not put it in his plan. So now, we're stuck with the berm, okay? So we are now working with the county that we can install the berm, okay?
The berm issue, fine.
Okay?
We gotta get the noise, the machines there.
And we'll work on this noise, and we'll work as hard as we can to get it squared away from this. I've worked with it already, and I'll stay working with it. Okay? Yes, Mark.
We're collecting Spring Mount Road and Yellow Ranch are right next to this. I've done some investigation, especially since I've been getting health problems. And I have found that Cornell University and several other universities and places have said that there's dangers living next to this type of thing. I'd like to know who decided to do this. Was it ever checked out? Who said, do you ever see a plant that close to homes? Do you ever see them in the middle of the townhouse development? You do not. There are laws and there are requirements of where they're built, how they're built, how far away from people they're built. This was not followed. Why not? Who pushed this through to the point that they did something reckless that could endanger people's lives? That's wrong. And not this township or anybody else has the right to do that. I've been there 25 years. These people have mortgages for 20, 35 years. What are they supposed to do if they have to sell next week? They have to say, oh, well, you could get sick from living here. You could hear the noise until you go insane. You don't dare work at home for more than 8 hours a day because you're more at risk now of getting sick. Who decided on that? What person was it? Because maybe they are the person who needs to be personally held responsible as well. Now, that's all I have to say, because I am so angry, I am so frustrated. This is everything my husband and I worked for our entire lives. You people have treated it like it's crap. Literally, crap. But what right did you have to do that? I can't spend one night, one day, one moment on my rear deck where my husband sat. Ernie, when you sat there and had coffee with him when he was dying of cancer, you never opened your mouth about what you were planning on doing. He didn't die that long ago. Now you did it. I can't sit on my back deck. There's something brown all over it. It better not be brown. It better not be. Because if it is, you're going to be in real trouble.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Can we move on?
You need an approval, yes. All those in favor, say aye. Next is a report from the planning commission.
Do I see Chuck at the back?
Chuck was absent that night. John Schmidt
Yeah.
just had a name mentioned, so in the Frederick Township. Meeting of July, I'm sorry. Meeting of August 16, 2018. It's called order. We only had the one member present. That was Chuck Geiser, chairman. He was away on vacation. We had discussed, we had Christian Ryder here from B-Team Investments. Carol Shore had reported about the issues with that. It's quite extensive. We had a good conversation with them. The members in attendance all agreed that we should do anything we can within the law to help this developer proceed with this project up there of 3 homes that'll be new, and there's issues that have to work with his B-Team Investments, the partnership of Christian Ryder and his other partner, and their engineer are working with our solicitor and their solicitor over some issues. They've been instructed to go back to the zoning hearing board again over a front yard issue. After that, we had, and Carol is responsible for that. We had the review and consideration of the Knight Minor subdivision, the PA DEP sewage facilities plan module component 4A document. That was discussed and approved by us and forwarded ahead, I believe, to the Board of Supervisors. Is that correct, Carol? We also had a presentation by Chuck Lighty, Supervisor of Lower Frederick Township, in regards to the National Association of Realtors Smart Growth Grant Program. Number 4, through a lot of help, I guess, with our manager and also with Terry Bird and Linda Jansen, we finally got through the formal receipt and acceptance of the Lower Frederick by the Lower Frederick Planning Commission of the Lower Frederick ASA documentation. So that did work out, although it was approved and forwarded by the Planning Commission to the Township and to Montgomery County. And I believe our solicitor will be involved with that. Also, as a remembrance, for our memory, Crystal Gilchrist, who is a member of the Planning Commission, Montgomery County Planning Commission, is going to have a comprehensive plan presentation on October 2nd at the Board of Supervisors meeting. It should take about 20 to 30 minutes, and she's going to cover a comprehensive plan. So that should be an important meeting. Other than that, to be adjourned in harmony. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
Next report is Parks and Recreation. Speak on that.
Oh, I'm not prepared to.
Okay.
Our chairman's not here, I guess, right?
No.
Kevin, if you'd like me to start doing that in the future, I come to these meetings. I guess our chairman does it, I'll start doing it.
Okay.
Can you mention the update on the concert? The
Well,
update on the concert weekend.
You changed it, didn't
Did you mention that?
Oh,
Have it or not?
a concert.
The concert.
You know, some of you people I can hear, some of them I can barely hear at all in this room. It looks like we're going to have the concert rescheduled for the 13th, Thursday the 13th. I'm waiting for it. I left a message with Corinne today that the court board